All right, as Wayne's student, his pupil, I am contractually required to include at least one poem a year in a sermon, so I figured I'd go ahead and knock that out the way. Here's my New Year's poem. I resolved to lose some weight, to improve my mediocre looks. I resolved to increase my knowledge by reading difficult books. I realized I didn't have time both to go to the gym and to read, so I ended up feeding neither body nor mind, and instead it's my stomach I'd feed. I resolved to study much more, to become a legitimate scholar. That one worked out about the same as all those years I resolved to be taller. But I did read more and learn more words, and I want people to have high thoughts of me. I guess that's why I keep using unnecessary ones, such as juxtaposition and dichotomy. I resolved to hang out more with my wonderful Christian friends. What amazing people I have in my life, so much time I wanted to spend. But I kept finding out how much easier they found the time. And just maybe, that's because they aren't busy raising 2 teenagers and 2 babies. I resolved to be better with money, spend far less, and save more. I ended up buying a whole nother house and renovating it from door to door. But it had been 3 years after all, and us Zarangs just have one rule. No sentimental value can be attached to a house. If you stay in one place 4 years, you're a fool. I resolved to take more speaking opportunities. Until the crowd's murmurings, I understood. For when I was introduced as the speaker, Renee, they'd turn to their friend and say, "I hope she's good." I resolved to speak slower in preaching, to improve in my chosen craft, yet with this poem my words are flying so fast it's causing a draft. I resolved to continue growing in my patience with Bama fans, and continue smiling at their Roll Tide yellers, and stop praying for their shortened lifespans. I resolved to try to stay healthy. I'm not good at being sick. Ask my wife. So I resolved to avoid all of these plagues, and yet I've already had COVID twice. But I did try to start eating better. I resolved to stop drinking coffee and start drinking hot tea. I did that because for tea I don't need sugar, and to make sure you'll know you're not as fancy as me. I resolved to spend more time outside. Some rock climbing talent seemed apparent. I enjoyed it so much I invited friends, but quickly quit when I was quickly passed by Aaron. I resolved to be the young dope kind of dad. Not a washed up and blubbery old sap. But it seems that the cool pants and the cooler backwards hat just make me look older and older. No cap. I resolved to stop getting so angry at my kids. Though the whining and crying make me weary. It's not their fault they act like babies. And that's just Alanis and Jerry. I joke, of course, my boys are great. My love I should better show them. But that's not the reason for these lines. There's a theological point to this poem. Resolutions are fine and are fun. They allow us to work to be better. But what they most sharply do for me is turn my attention back to my debtor. Resolutions point not to my growth, but my failure to be faithful at all, which leads me back to thanking my God for still making me worthy of a call. I can't even keep going to the gym, much less be faithful to daily prayer. To think for a moment I am worthy of God would show I am painfully unaware. Resolutions bring me back to God's grace and back to how far I fall short. They bring me back to the love of my Jesus, my older brother, my King, and my Lord.